Hey everybody, welcome to SpeedBump. We have we didn't get a race get on one this week, so we're gonna try and get it next week, maybe. SkullMonkeys. If people are looking to get on this, just let us know. We'll give you the information you need to get started. I'll probably try it myself. I mean, I've played it, but I haven't beaten it yet. I'll try and get that done myself this week because it is a fun game to run through. It is a long one. It's a journey. We're gonna be watching a 51-minute world record here.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what else is in this because, you know, last week we tapped out pretty far into the game. I guess about the halfway point, maybe a little further.
Yeah.
Looking to see how much harder the game gets because it doesn't exactly start out easy.
Let's take a look. Let me grab this here. That is the wrong window. Which? There it is. Okay, we're gonna play this. Let's do it. This is ruleless. 51:53 is the time. This is an emulator run.
Doesn't really seem concerned about the orbs, but also probably doesn't plan to die enough to need those extra lives, so that's good.
Yeah, so there hasn't been a whole lot of activity on this game just yet, but I do understand a couple of things that I didn't understand last week. Such as at the end of this level, there's going to be 2 exits. They're just running through like full speed. Also, they really hit the ground running with this one. You just kind of zoom forward. But the red one, you take the red one because it's going to take you to a better stage that you can do a little skip and immediately exit this stage. So they have to go over top of a wall. I assume this is some kind of secret exit, but they do this. And they end up down here where there's an exit, and then this stage is like 4 seconds long. So,
Oh, nice. The
red orb on stage 1-1 is probably the way to go. I'm pretty confident that the routing in this is fairly meshed out. Like we were talking about before, there's some optional stages, but they're all fluff. You don't want to do them, so you're gonna want to avoid the bonus things, 1970s things. Pretty sure. Damage boost there. You only get 1 in this game. You get like a shield. So now there's a lot of mandatory waiting for the swamp gun things. The weird alien gun things. There's a couple more of those in this stage.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be any way to just kill them or otherwise avoid them other than that 1 damage boost. Oh, nice, but you could just bounce over them.
Yeah, you can. Some of them. I was wondering if there's a way to get around those, or if there's a better place to use the damage boost, but I don't think there is. I mean, they skipped 2 of them with that, so I mean, how much better can you do?
Right.
Party in the monkey shrines. You really get a lot of locations in this game pretty quick. That thing there is a clone. I don't think it's going to be used like you were saying. It kind of lets you scout ahead, and that's not really speedrunner stuff. That's really more of a I don't have any idea what's up next kind of stuff.
Right. A shortcut out of the level though. That's pretty nice. We'll say this run has a little more polish than the games that we usually choose, but I think it's also a lot more interesting than some of the games that we've chosen in the past.
I think it's intimidating to look at, but it's really not as hard as it looks. Like, this game isn't a wildly difficult game when you know what to do in each stage. Like this boss.
Sure.
I mean, this is just like, it reminds me of Mario World in the same way. Like, you watch somebody do stage 1-3. The first aerial stage. It's a nightmare, but
yeah.
Everyone has that locked down because everyone does that so much, and it's not too hard once you get exactly what's going on. I mean, this game has not really got any RNG in it at all. It's pretty consistent.
Yeah, this is what I kind of expected for some of this platforming, is that if you just keep moving, you'll hit the perfect cycles every time.
Yeah, fire here is no problem. Some of these
This
stages,
level was incredibly intimidating my first time through, so...
Yeah, taking your time, this is much worse. Some of these stages, I think this runner has locked to where you're gonna do about as well as them. But not all of them. I picked this for a reason. There's a lot of green in this. We're gonna see some big time saves here. but there's still room to improve. There's some deaths in this run too, I'm pretty sure. There's definitely room to get this time down to below 50 minutes, in my opinion. And that's assuming we don't find any new tech.
Sure.
Yeah, you never know what you're gonna find. He's got the damage shield on. I think that's why he's glowing, right? So he's saving it.
Yeah, he probably has a place in mind to use it. Maybe somewhere where the cycles don't work out as well, and be able to take an intentional hit of damage.
Yeah, if you jump on 3 enemies in a row, you get a slightly higher jump, and he yells about it. So that might be confusing because it's not visually that big of a jump. It's not like I'm thinking of like Mario 64 where he gets like a triple backflip super jump. It's not like that at all. It's a minimal boost, but it is there. Almost all the bosses in this game are as fast or faster than the one we just saw. You have a bunch of guns that aren't being really used right now, and
right.
As long as you don't game over, you're going to be maxed out on those weapons. You can use them whenever you want. You're going to have so many.
Yeah, that's a good point. This is much harder casually just because you aren't going to have most of those weapons, but for a speedrun, I mean, you can just unload all of your ammo.
Yeah.
That'll be no problem.
They're homing missiles. You can fire them while you run. There's a screen wipe. That's a little slower to use, but there might be a place for that. I'm not sure. I'm interested to see that. I did watch this run before, but I can't remember how much those weapons get used, and that's not to say that they couldn't be used more either. I mean, there's probably good places to use those guns.
I'm interested to see if there's a little more going on with this too, because you're probably not going to be able to improve much on these largely horizontal levels. There's a few levels that have a lot of verticality to them, and that's usually where speed strats can find something, some way to climb faster, or some way to go up faster.
Those birds are checkpoints. There's a lot of weird stuff in here, and I can help translate this alien tech. I just have the player's knowledge of this game at the moment, not speedrun knowledge. I only know a few tricks and a couple of reasons why the routing is the way it is. Once again, we're skipping. You don't even see the fire. That fire is really slow. Hard boiler's already done. 14 worlds to go. This is being played on an emulator. Hardware is probably not too much different on this game. I bet this game runs just fine.
The disc is really expensive. That's the limiting factor for SkullMonkeys. This is a pretty rare game.
This shield has a duration on it, and it also only blocks 3 hits. That being said, you'd be hard-pressed to get hit 3 times here on purpose. You'd have to do it almost intentionally. This area is pretty easy. See, stages like this made me want to speedrun this game because I love doing those big chain jumps in games.
So you can see he stopped there to get a bullet.
Yeah. I don't know why. I'm not too
Probably
familiar
1 in 3 for some boss.
I'm not too familiar with the guns. There's homing missiles. There's a regular like pistol that he has that I know gets used on the next boss. And then I don't know what the rest of the guns are. One's a clone gun or something that lets you move forward in the level. I don't know. One's a screen wipe. I think there's another one. Hanging on to that damage boost this whole time. That's kind of rare. I don't see the shield too often. Here's the... Yeah, here. Okay. This is where I figured those guns would come in handy. This awful vertical stage where these dudes are in your way. You can get rid of them with the gun and then a whole lot less hectic.
He's got a pretty good number of those weapons too. I mean, you can afford to spend them if you needed to.
They're really good. I think that's... Make clear. Oh, we took a hit there, and I don't think it was meant to be happening. This is a very dangerous level. Any level like this. I can see this being the big run killer level. Vertical stage where you just fall and lose everything. One trip.
There you go.
That was really
That was
good.
a super clean level. I mean, you know, you took a hit and used that damage boost, but didn't really seem like that was going to waste any time either way.
That was really well done, yeah. Here's a level I'm interested in because of this, and you were talking about that. You can take a hit in the goop and not die with your damage boost.
Right.
There's a lot of waiting in this stage, and I don't think you can get around it. So this is a level where you can relax after that nasty thing you just did in the snow. This is the cooldown time. Nice. Okay, that is big right there. We definitely want to use that damage boost every time. It's interesting that they keep giving it to you also. It's like they wanted you to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that snow level that was just not. I think that's the worst level in the game. I really hate that level, and it's pretty early on, which is a good thing. You know, 8 minutes in and you're dealing with the worst stage. Then you have 50 minutes of just playing the game. This level's a patience level, but there's damage boosts. There's been 3 of them so far. This is probably the longest stage. It's the only one that really makes you wait like this that I can remember. It's not too hard. It's just a lot of air. But I just cautious play. How do you get that? He didn't want to use the damage boost there. But it's probably because picking that up would have been a waste of time. There's one right there. Neat. We immediately pick up the pace after we're out of that sludge zone.
Yeah, that auto-scroller just seems miserable. This is a really nice departure from that. Most of these levels seem really straightforward. I mean, I think that's one of the things that makes this game so appealing is that there's not a ton of bells and whistles to it. I think that will make it in some ways more challenging to beat the existing world record, but I think the existing world record has a lot of places to still save a lot of time, so.
Yeah. The enemies are... They're Mario 1 style. They have a pattern of motion and they just do it forever. They walk back and forth. They might shoot once in a while. Like these guys, just... They're bullet bills. Like they're all like that. Every enemy in the game pretty much is down to one thing. They don't do multiple stuff. There's a couple weird ones that's hard to figure out what they're doing.
That jump seemed like he was planning to bounce off of more enemies but didn't quite make it, so I'm wondering if there's maybe more time to be saved on this level if you can get the cycles to line up better.
Lost the damage boost early, and there's another one right there down the road, so they're holding on to this one. There's a couple enemies in this game that's a little weird to figure out what the heck they're doing. One of them is coming up in the next world or two where you kill it and it shoots some homing missiles at you, and they don't look like missiles.
Yeah, that tricked me last time.
I don't think a speedrunner is going to struggle with this though, because they are trackers and they're going to get outran real fast. Not too bad. I feel like they did lose some time there though. Here's Joehead Joe,
nice
the fastest boss, the Dev Joe.
Poor Joe.
Definitely want to bring your gun for that, because if you do not, you're going to be there for 10 minutes. You definitely want some shot. I mean, how long were you on that boss?
A little while. It took me a little bit to figure it out, and then waiting for the good cycles.
Okay, so what we have here is a level that is a big, small gimmick, and so the little fellas will bite you if you're tiny. The glowing SkullMonkeys shoot homing missiles at you when you jump on them. That's what we were talking about. If you're big, the purple birds don't even exist.
It was the green ones, I think. They're like colored green, and they explode into little heat-seeking missiles.
Yeah. Being tiny changed your momentum a little bit. It's kind of jarring. I don't like being tiny in this game when it to be over.
It definitely feels like it plays very differently.
There's a couple levels of this. They breeze right through it. Yeah, so that was one of them. You'd have to look really close to even see him do his thing. A lot of excess damage shield in this area. A lot of room for taking hits. It's done.
Yeah, that probably means that you could, rather than trying to line up bounces, which slows you down, you could probably run straight through some of these enemies. So
we're getting not too far away from where you were. This is the gliding zone. Lots of cool tech goes on in this place. So when you pick up this bird, for the rest of the stage, you can float. And you can use that float on and off. And you can fly off steam for a boost.
I think this is the last area I made it to. I don't think I made it to the Y&T mines.
Here's where I feel like the gun and the damage boosting is really going to save some time. Like, I feel like this is where you're going to end up optimizing because, yeah, there's all kinds of stuff you could do here, and I don't feel like it's completely mastered yet. I think this is where the big time saves are going to start coming in. This bird, and it just felt like they weren't full on this level like they have been on the other stages.
And maybe there's even the potential to find fast strats that don't use the gun so that you can save those for more boss fights.
I think if you jump just right, you can get around these guys. Interesting moves. There's some complications.
These guys right by the vents were the ones that kept messing me up, so very impressed to see how easily they're dealt with. This runner clearly knows what they're doing.
Nice shot. Yeah, so that's the regular gun. And ammo for that is just littered around, just like the other weapons. But, I guess you can consider it an inventory item because it works exactly the same way. But in my head, he'd have more bullets, but he doesn't. He only gets a couple. It's the one we used on the boss earlier. Having the gun makes everything easier. That's a good dive.
It's a good move. Yeah, this series has a lot of charm to it. Like I mentioned last week, this is a sequel to the point-and-click adventure game, The Neverhood. And that game's super good. It's just as charming as this, if not more.
One thing I will warn people about when you're trying to run this game is the bottom of the screen is pretty vicious. You want to stay a healthy distance away from that.
Yeah, it's not like Mario games where you can go a little bit below the bottom of the screen. If the bottom of your foot touches the bottom of the screen, that's it.
I played enough Demon's Crest to really get a lot of appreciation for these diving under enemies moves with flight. Works exactly the same way. Oof. I don't think that was intended. That was clunky.
Yeah.
That was a mess there. I think that's it for that stage. Nope, there's one more. They really go in on this bird. There are 17 worlds. The final boss is on world 16, and there's like a getaway. There's the first a couple of deaths. So this run isn't perfect, no matter how you look at it.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure there's 4 deaths in this, which, you know, adds up to 20 seconds or so, at least. It is absolutely a game where you die in 2 hits, though, so, you know, 2 hits is generous. Usually it's 1. So it's a pretty impressive count to only have it down to 4 in the first place. That's pretty good. This probably is one of the best runs we've started with.
Yeah, I think feel pretty confident that that's true.
Ooh.
Yeah, this run's already in a pretty good place, but I think our runners are up to it.
I like to give them a challenge. They keep on breaking them. We gotta give them some hard stuff. Lost 8 seconds on the PB measure there. On that stage, that last one. Death Garden. Okay, so this is all new terrain for where we were from last week. Hello.
This is one of those levels that has that verticality I was talking about. I mean, how interesting would it be if we found something that allowed you to, you know, go up through that spike patch, for instance, or doesn't require you to go all the way left to right in order to make your way through these levels.
It's funny how short that one is after some of the stages we've been through. It's just finished.
Yeah, I mean, even if you look at the timer, you can see most of the worlds are like 2 minutes long, and then Death Garden was 6.
I like Death Garden a lot because the bird tech doesn't show up very often, and it's one of the better things in the game, so I don't really mind that one being the long one. It is extensive, though. I think what feels like the longest one is that sludge zone with all the waiting around. Hard boiler. And even that one's only a couple minutes. We're already on the weeds. Mine's is done. It's 90 seconds long.
Some of the later worlds, I mean, just looking at the timer, you can see some of the later worlds are longer ones. There's a lot of variance of the worlds. It's not like in some platformers where it's like you've got 3 desert levels, then 3 water levels, then 3 ice levels. It varies a lot to tell its story, I guess.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to measure how far along you are because World 1 and 5 is
So do we know what that item he just picked up does? Super Willy?
I knew once.
Okay.
I knew last week what it was. I'll find out.
It picks up everything on the screen. Good for Willy.
That's cool.
Probably not super useful unless there are bullets or a backup like the Halo that you might want to grab in order to do some sort of strat. So I don't know whether, you know, I haven't watched this run yet, and I don't know whether or not he uses the Super Willy, but it seems like on its own that sounds like it's probably not terribly useful, and yet I can think of situations where I'd probably want to factor that into my routing.
Willy Trombone, your crazy cousin. you can collect 7 of them just like everything else. So if it is used, you can use it a bunch. You can just sit on them until it's good. I don't know if it grabs the damage shield or not. If it does, it's probably good. I also don't know what the animation on it looks like, if it even has one.
Right.
If
yeah, if it's really slow, it might defeat the point.
Oh, what a pattern on those jerks.
Whoever was making those really had some fun with it.
Reminds me of those Celeste enemies.
They wanted you to look at that pattern and go, oh no. Well, I don't think they're going to be hurting for bullets anytime soon. The early game did not have a ton of them, but they are not in short supply now.
They're not able to bounce on those? Is that what is going on?
Yeah, these enemies you can't bounce on. Well, it must not be that useful because there's another willy right over there.
Yeah. Wouldn't even use the willy to grab the willy. Cutscene. We've actually seen like probably 40 minutes of cutscene at this point that have been skipped. The whole run is half as long as the cutscenes would have been. There's a whole 3 episodes worth of cartoon in this thing.
Well, hopefully when you play through it, you'll let the cutscenes play.
Yeah, I probably will.
We need to know what happens with Clayman.
Got some decent cycles on these. Ooh. Not there. See, I feel like you could jump from one vine to the other there. You didn't really need to land.
Right. Yeah, maybe.
Landing was safer, but I think it was a pretty clear shot.
You think they could have just jumped across that whole gap?
Yeah. Nice one. That was a good one.
I wasn't sure for a moment whether or not that was intentional.
It landed right where they wanted to be and escaped immediately. I think I would probably be blasting some of these jerks. I just don't like the cycle enemies. I wonder how many bullets they have at this point.
Right now I think it's 12. But the question is whether or not those are all 4 bosses. That was my initial concern. I wasn't using the bullets ever because I assumed that I would need to save them for boss fights, and the boss fights are spaced out, so...
Yeah, I think there's a boss at the end of Eggs here. I'm pretty sure it's coming up. There's 3 more, maybe? They're pretty sparse.
I was afraid to use a bullet there. A lot of these spots seem like using bullets to be safe rather than risking death, but probably could avoid even without a bullet. And so maybe there's some time to be saved by playing it a little riskier and saving those bullets for, you know, just saving time against the boss or something.
Yeah, I'm feeling like what just happened right there. If you were trigger happy, you could save a lot of time here, but I don't know what it will end up being for your resources. You might need that stuff. We're gonna have to watch. I haven't seen too many power-ups recently.
That seems like another situation like you were talking about where I bet you could jump from the top of that rope just to the right and skip that whole platform cycle you had to wait on.
There's 2 homing birds at the start of this level that he wasted in terms of overstocking.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Using those a little more aggressively, knowing where they're going to be picked up again.
Yeah. Anytime that he's waiting for these dudes on vines, it looks like a homing bird shot to me, but I'm not sure until I try it myself. Nice. I love this move. There's another one. That's 3.
But you see, he did just there what we've been talking about this whole time. A lot of times you get that verticality, you get to the top of a rope, and then he would like climb down it. That time he just jumped off the top and skipped a whole bunch of stuff. You know, we should probably be expecting to see a lot more of that. I'm saying this knowing that this runner may have already tested all of these things and has chosen the best thing for them, but maybe there's more to be found.
Word. Getting a lot of ammo for the regular blaster here. Using it quite a bit. I like how awful that jump is. You gotta climb all the way up just to make sure it happens. Did it in cycle though. Is there a place on screen that shows you how much blaster ammo they have left?
Only when they collect or use it. It usually appears up at the top center.
There's those hummingbirds. There is a delay on launching those. I'm not even sure that you can launch them while you're on the vine.
That's true.
Can you jump and fire them?
Maybe.
They seem like such a good weapon because they don't miss. Like they're really good at what they do. Here comes boss Glenn. It's a shmup. Yeah, so your gun isn't used here. So, you know, if you're saving ammo for the boss, then you're saving it for the next one, not this one.
Right.
And the next one is way far away. I'm pretty sure it's in the castle, but maybe not.
That's interesting. His back arm points in the direction he's going to attack.
Well, he's legs now. That's level 10. Time for Mount Rushmore. Monk Rushmore. Monkey. I get it. I understand.
I'm hip to it.
A lot of weird enemies in this one.
It's a nice looking level.
Pretty sure just based on the way this level got played that you can't jump on these guys either because of the propeller. Oh.
Unfortunate.
Oh. Having a bad time with the Skyland. Look at these guys. They're super aggressive. He didn't set this off the first time.
Didn't set what off?
Those chasers didn't happen the first time.
Oh, maybe.
I guess they just scrolled too high the second time and got by him. Yeah, this game's got your Bubsy death animation style going on. Enjoy. Got a variety of death.
Hey, I'm into that.
Yeah, those chaser birds, if you're moving, if you're really zooming, they don't seem to be a threat. But if you're hanging around, they look really nasty.
God, these levels are so short compared to some of the ones we've seen.
Yeah. Still saving time. Makes me feel like their PB before this had a lot of trouble in Skyland. Homing shots seem like they'd be really good against some of these propeller guys who really want to just jam up your path. Yeah, there you go. Speak of the devil. All of a sudden, it's the favorite gun.
He heard you talking.
Wow, that's a tough jump. Oh. It does take a little bit to fire that. Unlike the other gun, it's I feel like that's why it's not the favorite. It's gonna be good for killing enemies above you. Yeah. Sorehead. I'm not sure what the gimmick is here. Is he tiny again?
Looks like it.
This is the part of the run I haven't seen very much. Nice moon. I think I like what's happening here.
Is that the whole strat? Really?
You just
Okay.
Just hang right, be finished. Aim for the circles. There's some good indicators on where you should be falling here. Mostly dead center though. That's level 2. Hey, I like these vertical stages this time.
Yeah.
Going down is way better than going up. It honestly looks like it's not a very threatening stage. Like, worst case scenario, you hit that propeller guy. Everyone else, you're just gonna kill. You're gonna bounce off of them though.
So I'm definitely saying this without testing anything, but I really feel like some of these cycles could have been faster in this level in particular. I'm able to say that because I haven't tested, but really felt like that could have been a little faster.
Yeah. Shield.
It's incredible that it gives you the shield. It feels like most of the time in these stages where you weren't likely to take any hits anyway.
It's getting rid of some propeller boys this time. This is the first useful one I've seen. Well, here's another one. Nice star run style thing going on. Oh my. Well, we have 15 minutes left.
Some of these last levels must be really slow. I mean, the last level's about 6 minutes, so...
There's a boss fight, too, mixed in there. Final boss fight. There's 2 more bosses, I think. Ah! The shield didn't work. I don't know why not.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it... So, it's not like it makes you invulnerable and the hamsters are just a count. It seems like the hamsters have to hit the thing to kill it.
Yeah. Getting that to measure would be really tough. Just pushing forward and hoping the last of your hamsters works out. I think that's the last death that was taken. That was one of the worst ones, but it still wasn't. I mean, there's so many checkpoints, and all of the deaths happened pretty close to one, or at the start of the level. This game is loaded with checkpoints and one-ups and stuff. It's a fairly difficult game your first couple times through, but there are backup plans like that all over the place. Why is he doing this? That's interesting. That is the screen clear, and I don't know how big the screen clear is.
Yeah. It might actually cover a lot more ground than we were thinking.
Yeah, I mean, that took forever, so... Unless that was fat-fingered. I can't imagine... It must have cleared something.
Oh, made back all that time there. I mean, I can point to spots on these splits where a lot of time can be saved, probably. And the fact that there's so many gold splits, those splits that are glowing colors are a common thing in speedrunning, that mean that that's the fastest they've ever done that segment in particular. So,
yeah.
Having that many gold splits really makes me think that this is a more recent optimization, and that it's not actually all that optimized overall.
Look at this Meat Boy aesthetic. Yeah, maybe they used that big bomb just because they were playing around, because the cycle couldn't be done any faster. I'm under the impression that that is just a regular screen clear, which means that anything you can't see is the kill. Some nasty skulls. One of the things this game really does well is make every stage look wildly like a different game.
Yeah, the Neverhood games definitely do a really great job with aesthetics overall.
Hard to spot checkpoint there. Runner felt like he needed it.
This part must be really tricky because he's still got an extra hit. So he felt like he needed to go back for that checkpoint.
And stab. What?
Clayman went to hell.
It's the music that plays in hell.
I don't have the music turned on now, I have to hear it. That was not what I was expecting the music to sound like.
Like some Weird Al intro. I heard the words enchilada and super burrito in the lyrics. They just got this guy and he was eating lunch and he just wrote the soundtrack. These are terrifying stages because of the visuals, but they don't look too much harder than before. Here comes the 4th of 5 bosses.
So let's see if they have the weapons for it.
I know they do, but I don't think they get used here either. I don't think that you can get around the shield.
Yeah, I was about to say, this one seems really heavily cycle-based, so it doesn't matter.
And incredibly easy if you're on cycle, too.
Yeah, this boss seems like if you understand how it works, then it's trivial.
I wonder if that death actually saves time. It's the second time that's happened. I'm not sure about that either.
Maybe.
You ready for this? Have you seen this yet?
Nobody's ready for this.
Somebody was saying the last level looked like a minecart section. Well, we got your real minecart section right here. Almost out of control. Yeah, I want to reiterate a point that you're gonna run into some difficulty immediately, and you shouldn't be intimidated by that because this game only gets easier, really. Like it stays that hard most of the game, and then there's levels like that. There's a couple levels mixed in, and here and even in the end game, level 1 isn't that much worse than level 10.
Secret.
I've been watching half of this run without audio on, and I forgot how much of this game's charm is made up of the soundtrack and sound effects.
Now you can hear the chorus. The chorus of Muppets. I will say I hate the squelch sound at the exit. And then you move on to the next stage. I keep forgetting that those green things are bullets. They just look like points to me, but they're actually one of the most valuable pickups in this run.
In theory, I think that the soundtrack and the sound effects for this game are incredible, but they're also so deeply unsettling at times.
Well, we're getting there. This is a long one from Graveyard.
I mean, the real long one's Evil Engine 9, right? I mean, just based on the splits, it looks like that one's as long as the longest level we've seen so far.
I'm under the impression that the final boss and then Evil 9 are together on the same split because of the way it works.
Okay.
But I might be wrong.
Gotcha.
You definitely fight that boss who was in the Neverhood game, is here, and he's in stage 16. And then you destroy his machine. After that. Log. This is him. Okay, so maybe not. Catch an egg. It's eggs. It always comes back to eggs in these games. If it's a weird game, there's eggs in it somewhere.
This is the final boss fight?
Let me reiterate a point. This game isn't as hard as it seems. I think, like, some levels are tough, and then some levels aren't so tough. The bosses never really get too vicious. It seems like he's being rude here. I don't know how random this is. I said there wasn't any RNG, but if there is any, it comes on some of these boss fights. The suicide move this time. Okay, time for the final run, and yeah, it is 6 minutes of just Evil Engine 9. And I did feel like there's time to save here, because I watched this level specifically when I picked this game. I went straight to the end and checked out the last run, as well as the parts of that I had seen and played myself.
You know, even with what looked to be like a bad RNG boss fight, they still got a gold split on that one. Which, makes me wonder whether or not that boss is maybe always mean, or... I don't know.
You can have 9 bullets, not 7. That's the only one that goes up that high. This level has those. You have to switch those platforms on. Sometimes, at least. I don't know if that one was switched on. I think it was. Yeah, and then you get these, like, hologram platforms. That's the gimmick here. See, they wanted those bullets, even though they're maxed out. They just wanted them. I'm not entirely understanding how the holograms turned on. Some of them are really switches. These ones seems like they're just activating when you get near them.
Yeah, it seems like jumping on the platform is the switch for some of these.
Yeah, I feel like this last level goes out pretty strong. It's, I don't think it's as hard as some of the levels we've seen, but it's still pretty tough. I don't understand exactly how this gimmick works either. If these disappear on you or something, they could be ruder than they look. There's so much ammo here that you should just be blasting every enemy. That's my opinion. They're really loading you up with these bullets. I feel like if there is a mistake in this run, it's probably that they didn't use their guns as much as they probably should have. But I'm definitely not speedrunning yet on this either, so my opinion is, you know, just jerk observer. There it goes, the wrong way. Come back, platform. Nice. That was a sick move. There's less enemies than bullets at this point. If only the rest of the game was like that. If only you could be trigger-happy Contra Run in this game.
Yeah, no kidding.
2 enemies, 3 bullets. Jeez. Now you can have 10 bullets. Is there a cap on that? I think you had to touch that one. Nice. It's so zoomed out that it's running sluggish. But,
yeah.
That just makes it easier to control.
It was hard to tell at first whether or not it was like one of the scale down power-ups.
It is, but it's like it's permanently on.
Gotcha.
We're gonna see the end of this in about a minute here.
This level seems like a lot for like a final escape sequence. It's just like a lot of the same over and over.
They came up with holograms, they're gonna use them. They want you to use your gun. That one deactivated there. I wonder why. I don't know the rules on these things. They might have a clock on them.
It seems like as you get far enough away from them, they start to deactivate. I don't know if it's time-based or not. Because it hasn't seemed to be related to the amount of time they've been on.
Yeah, since we're going as fast as possible, we might not be seeing the timer hit.
Kapow says they're timed, so I'll take their word for it. Maybe they each have their own individual timer and they're not related.
Why are we doing this? That's interesting. So there might be a use for taking a death on purpose here, activating these. So they've used the clone, so this isn't them. They can die. But they just left. I mean, they did it for no
Maybe they were uncertain whether or not they could get it on the first try, and so they did that for safety?
It's gotta be. I mean, there's no reason why they would do that, so yeah. Cool. What do you think of that?
Interesting. I think it looks way more impressive when it's done fast. And I'm looking forward to seeing what our runners do with it.
Since we didn't get any sign-ups for a race this week, I'm gonna push it a little harder and advertise it better for next week. We're gonna see if we can get some recruits. See if we can get some SkullMonkeys activity. I'm gonna jump in myself this week. Probably tomorrow. I'll probably keep this whole thing. It's not a long game. It's a long speed run, but it's not a long game. 2 hours, 2 to 4 hours. You'll beat it.
Yeah. Cool.
It's got as many continues as you want. It's got passwords. It's got it all. I mean, you will get it if you keep trying. That's for sure.
Give it your best.
Well, I'm gonna call it for now. Are you broadcasting out the blues?
In just a little bit.
Okay, I'll just host Sky Bills. Sounds like she's
Cool.
on.
Yep.
Alright. See you later, everybody.
You can hear her in the back.
Yeah.
Alright, later.
Y'all have a good one. We'll see you later.